Seems high. Is it high? Huh. Oh well. It is what it is. You are so much further away than you normally are. I don't know what happened over the last few years, but like the camera got closer and closer and closer. So we're putting a little distance between us today because today we're talking about drama. Everyone's favorite subject when it comes to a wedding, and such like a clickbaity term that like you see all over the place, wedding drama. But the problem is like it's also real. It's also real, and it affects so many couples. Literally, I don't know a single couple that's not affected by some sort of wedding drama while planning their wedding. So today's video is going to be, I was going to say a run through of that. Today we're going to talk about wedding drama and expectations and energy. And this is something that I don't typically do here on this channel. Also, hi, if you're new, my name's Jamie. I'm a wedding planner and I do wedding planning videos every week. And today specifically, we are talking about the dark side of wedding planning. Now, I don't talk about wedding drama a whole lot, right? Like the main focus is teaching you guys how to plan a wedding because planning a wedding is not hard. Planning a wedding is very simple. Like the act of planning the event is not a difficult achievement. It's the expectations, it's the emotions, it's the finances, it's the etiquette, it's all those external things that can really kind of get in the way of having a successful, easy planning. So I tend to not like talk a lot about how to manage drama, right? I tend to stay in the lane of like, here's how to plan a wedding, and drama, I will give some advice here and there. But there is someone who is far more gifted at this that allowed me to use some of her material for today's video, and that's Kara. She is a bridal coach. She is the founder of the Bridal Prep Academy. I'll explain a little bit more of what that is later. But basically, like, she is a life coach specifically for brides. And I'm not gonna lie, when I first heard this, I was like, how is that a thing? How is that a thing? Sorry, Kara, no offense, but also I'm sure you've heard that before. And it wasn't until we invited her to like come for the master plan quarterly live calls and help us wade through some of these emotional situations that I was like, I am so thrilled to have Kara in my life because I can just punt any sort of overly dramatic or emotional question that I don't feel equipped to answer to her. So she actually has this digital download that I'm using for today because I think it's an amazing reference, and I think you guys should lean on that as well. Basically, Kara describes these issues as the drama, understanding expectations, and managing your energy. This is huge, and we definitely don't talk about this enough. Sure, the industry like commonly uses terms like wedding drama because, you know, it's a spicy term and you want to click on that article to see what it's about. But until you're in the actual throes of wedding planning, you don't really realize how much the drama can affect you or how widespread or how deep it goes. It's very real. So all of a sudden you're fighting with your mom about centerpieces. One of your bridesmaids is acting completely bonkers or has completely checked out and you're like, hey, where'd my friend go? And your fiance, for some reason, has adopted the Patronus of an ostrich and is sticking their head in the sand, and you're just like, how are all the people in my life going absolutely bat-ass crazy right now? You know what I mean? You're just like, did this ring just like flip a switch on everyone and now all of a sudden we're in Crazyville? What is happening? This literally has like, is it me? Am I the drama? I don't think I'm the drama written all over it because oftentimes this drama is pinned onto the bride herself. It's pinned onto the person who's planning the wedding. And it's like, well, if you weren't so dramatic, this wouldn't be such a problem. This could be one of the reasons why the term bridezilla exists. It's that the bride herself or the couple themselves are being dramatic in planning the event, when in actuality, the drama can be in so many relationships all around them. It creates a ripple effect of just stuff in everyone around you. And you start to think that you are crazy. You start to think that, am I inventing this? How are so many people around me acting differently? So I started doing some digging around and really and truly wanted to avoid the wedding websites for this kind of stuff. And I actually found an article on Psychology Today written by Sarah Epstein. She's a licensed marriage and family therapist, so I just want to read this to you real quick. For many families, weddings are not merely a day to celebrate the couple, but a way to illustrate family identity, beliefs, wealth, and culture. And so the couple, with its new differentiated identity, as well as each family, must address their different priorities, needs, and beliefs. It is much easier to blame a stressed out bride or disagreements about wedding decor for ongoing tension, but the underlying dynamics tell a different story. Indeed, some couples avoid these dynamics altogether when they decide to make all decisions unilaterally, taking full responsibility for their wedding. But even then, families may carry expectations. I'll link to the entire article down below because I think it's absolutely worth a read, but I just wanted to highlight that section for you. Because the wedding drama is real. It's not you. Maybe it's not just you. This is affecting you and everyone around you because this is change. Whether you've been with your partner for a year or 10 years, this is still a change. This is still a milestone in your lives and in the lives of those around you. And guess what? It's perfectly normal. Here's a great line from Kara's download. Because change is always messy and difficult, no matter how well you plan for it. And there's no way to rehearse this. You don't get a dress rehearsal for something like this. This is all new, and a lot of it falls on brides specifically. I know 96% of my audience here are brides, so I am talking to you specifically. If you are changing your name, if you are moving in together for the first time, if you are combining finances, there's a lot of change that's happening, and there's no way to practice for this. But knowing to expect some emotional upheaval from yourself and your closest circle will go a long way in helping you manage it with grace and ease. Having those feelings validated. You are valid. The drama is real. It is not all just you. Some people around you might start to act crazy, and it doesn't really feel like your fiance is helping. This is me validating that. And now that you know that this might be the case, it could help you to better mitigate these waters moving forward. Next up is understanding expectations. And this really and truly is the root cause of a lot of the drama, right? The drama is the after effect of expectations not being met. There's you, specifically, you have your expectations. Whether you've been pinning to the same Pinterest board for 6 years, like before you even met your fiance, or you just picked up your first bridal magazine and you've never even looked at one before, you already have expectations for what you want your engagement to look like and what you want your wedding day to look like. It may not be the design. It may not be the budget, but you have a general idea of what your hopes and dreams are for this season in your life. You also have expectations for how your fiance, your family, and your friends are going to show up for you. Why? Because it's based on a history of how their behavior has been in the past, for the most part. Occasionally we go a little cuckoo inside and go, we now expect our fiance to be someone other than who they are. Like with me and my husband, he doesn't get projects done on time. And for some reason I thought because we're planning a wedding, he would get them done on time. No, I didn't become Martha Stewart overnight. I do a little bit of crafting, but not a ton of crafting. And for some reason for my wedding, I then expected that I would be so much better at doing so many things. I still DIY'd too much. But my expectations all of a sudden became something completely unpractical. But this is also a two-way street because your parents, your neighbors, your coworkers, they will have expectations for this season in your life as well. They think that they have an idea of how this is going to go, what the season's going to look like for you, what your wedding's going to be like, but the reality is going to be pretty different than what a lot of them have actually pictured in their minds. And you might say this isn't their wedding, they don't get opinion, blah, 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 and you may be right, I don't know the boundaries that you have in place for various people in your lives, but that's not going to stop them from having expectations anyway. Just because you say you're not allowed to have an opinion doesn't mean they're not going to have one up here anyways. They may just not be sharing it. Because this is change, because everyone around you is experiencing this, either on a small scale or a large scale. But it's hitting you the hardest. Kara says, as the bride, odds are you will get the brunt of everyone else's feelings and it can feel like being attacked. It can feel personal. Expect that expectations are the root cause of much of the family drama, and then you are able to let people talk about those expectations and acknowledge that while the wedding might be different, you would love to understand things that matter the most and can incorporate those things as you are inclined. So basically, I acknowledge that you have expectations about my event. We may or may not be incorporating that, but I appreciate that you want to be involved and you care about how our event will go. What a fantastic way of setting that boundary up, of just being like, hey, I see you, I hear you, and I understand that you want what's best for this wedding, or I understand that you have expectations about how this wedding will go. Chances are we may not go that direction, but we appreciate you wanting to put your input in anyways. Validating, putting a boundary. One area that people really do feel like is a difficult area, especially when it comes to boundaries and having this kind of conversation. I'd be remiss if I didn't bring finances into this, if someone's gonna help pay for your event. So if you need a talking guide, we actually created one. I did a hard money talk, a video a couple weeks ago. I'll put the download right here if you want to check that out. Basically, it's how do you talk to your family or contributors for your event? And what does that look like? Because you're probably going to want to rip that Band-Aid off. This is all very much entrenched together. I couldn't say all this without at least mentioning money, so check that out. And then there was a photography blog that I saw that had a great way of talking through this. Some great questions to have, or some great questions to use, rather, in this conversation with parents or with your fiance's parents. And it's Lele and Bean. I'll link them down below as well if you want to check out this article. Another great one. Ask engaging questions so they feel involved. What are your expectations for our wedding? Do you have any dreams, hopes, fears? family traditions you'd like to continue, photos you've dreamed of. Oh my gosh. The amount of maternal figures out there that have like the specific photos that they have in mind of like, you need this one, you need this one, that you need this one. This is why I always recommend when putting together your family photo list, you get your mom or your aunt or your grandmother involved or some sort of maternal figure, because they have this preconceived notion of what they want those family photos to look like. So just pawn it off on them. It's a great way of having that happen. And then important people you want in attendance. Again, you may have different boundaries with the person that you're having this conversation with. This may be a no-go. I don't know where you've placed those in this relationship, but if these feel like they'd be a useful tool, definitely check out that blog. I will link it down below. This is not a smooth process. Things can and will go wrong. You may have this conversation with someone and then have to rehab that conversation because it seems like it didn't land well the first time, or, it just needs to be repeated because someone in the conversation forgot what the conversation was. Someone will have an opinion that will grind your gears, that will feel like pouring salt in a wound. And we need to acknowledge that. But also figuring out a way to have these conversations and put up these boundaries is going to be immensely helpful, especially when you're dealing with your family and your fiance's family. If you choose to have children, there comes even more opinions with that. If you choose to move, if you choose to buy a home, there's going to be expectations and emotions that are attached to all of those decisions because to a certain extent, they are entrenched in your life. So learning how to manage the drama, the expectations, having these open conversations now is only going to behoove you as you move forward, because we could potentially be talking about decades with these relationships. So basically, if you can learn to have key phrases and or implement boundary strategies now, it will strongly benefit you moving forward. This last one is managing energy. And this is where Kara shines. This is her thing. This is her deal. I have talked about this before a little bit, but the guests will do what you want to do. So if people are like, well, what do we do if we're not dancing? I'm like, just go talk to your guests. Like, they will follow you. They will match your energy. They will want to do what you are doing. If you're on the dance floor, people want to join you on the dance floor. If you're walking around and talking to people, people will want to walk around and talk with you. Seeing this on Kara's list, I was like, that's actually a really good point, because there's only so much you can control on your wedding day, which is not a whole lot. There's one thing that you can control though, and that's where you choose to spend your energy, and that's what you choose to do your best to feel on your wedding day. Because everyone wants a picture perfect wedding. Everyone wants magic. Everyone wants the best vendors. Everyone wants their guests to have the most amazing time. They want the best photos afterwards. But like we've already said, something is probably going to go wrong. And having that already set as the expectation, again, managing that expectation for yourself in your mind, really going to be a great lens through which you can filter how this day is going to go for you. Now, Kara said one of her mantras is that famous quote by Maya Angelou. At the end of the day, people won't remember what you said or did. They will remember how you made them feel. Like, it's a good one for like how to live your life. But when it comes to your wedding day, woof. Your energy on that day will set the tone for the entire room. So if you are grounded in peace and gratitude and love, people will feel it. If you are fully present in the moment, really in your body, feeling the excitement and the joy of the occasion, there is nothing more beautiful or memorable. Listen, again, I am no expert in this. And I'm so grateful that I had Kara to tap on to be like, hey, can I use your digital download for inspiration for a video? Because the amount of times I get asked, hey, here's the drama, here's the XYZ, here's the expectation that someone else has, and I don't want to meet that. This is not what I want for my event. How do I handle this? Is a lot. And oftentimes they're pretty specific, so it makes it a little bit harder for me to address in general. So having a framework like this, I hope, is really going to help you guys. The wedding drama is real. It's not just you. Having expectations placed upon you for your event is such a struggle. It can feel like you are getting personally attacked. And I just want you to know that you're not alone. You are normal. This is normal. It doesn't mean that it doesn't hurt. It doesn't mean that it shouldn't hurt. I just want you to know that you're not alone. Now, Kara has this awesome program called the Bridal Prep Academy, which I absolutely think y'all should check out. I don't know if this is still going on or if she still has space for this, but according to what I've heard, the first 100 people to sign up for this get in for free. So if this is something that y'all are interested in, or if this is something that you feel like you're really battling and you need the skill set of someone who's professionally trained to handle this, I would highly recommend checking that out. I will go ahead and give it a link up here, and I will link it in the bio if you guys want to check it out there. At the end of the day, I just want you to know that you are so normal, you are so loved, and you are so not alone. Come join our Facebook group, because that is such a beautiful place to just like kind of commiserate with other people who are going through this and be validated and be encouraged and have your designs affirmed and your questions answered. Please come join my Facebook group. I would love to see you in there. So that's what we have for this week's video, guys. Thank you so much for stopping by. I know it's kind of a detour from our regular content, but I think every once in a while it's important to like talk about stuff that sucks, and wedding drama sucks. So hopefully that was helpful. If you like the video, jump on down there, hit that like button, and subscribe to this channel for more tips and tricks for the modern day bride. And until next week, bye guys.